Hi everyone, it's Lavinia. Welcome to my channel. I am participating in the Inktober 2025 Zentangle Prompt Challenge, and we are at day 29, which is called, the Zentangle is called Pokeheart. I have my bijou tile. I will be drawing that here as part of the video. I have my compilation page, so I will be drawing a variation of it, I think, on the compilation page. And I have with me some of my ink pens. I will probably be using the 0.3, perhaps the 0.1. Not sure about the 0.5. I have a 4B graphite pencil. I have my blending tool. I'm going to use this Micron PN pen. It's a plastic nib pen to draw the Zentangle here on the calendar because I like to use color on the calendar. And let me just show you sort of what Pokeheart is. This is just a variation. I will draw here what the actual Zentangle is. And then I did a variation, and I think on my compilation page I'm going to draw this. I think Pokeheart is a variation of an original Zentangle called Poke Leaf. And there's also Poke Root. So, and Poke Leaf is this with then a leaf shape, and Poke Root is a kind of like a circle orb. But this in itself, this piece right here is Pokeheart. So let me show you, and I am going to use my pencil because to me drawing hearts are a little bit, or at least this bottom piece, it was a little bit challenging, I guess because of the symmetry, although it doesn't have to be symmetrical, but I think I'm going to start off in pencil. So let's come down to the bijou tile and I'll get a little bit closer. Okay, so I don't know if I'm going to put a border, but what we're going to draw is this initial bottom, which is almost like the bottom of a heart. So sort of like that. I don't know, however a heart might look. And that's why it's a little bit difficult for me. So I don't know, maybe it comes like that. Okay. And we can always fix it once we have the ink in there. And then you're going to, so this is like the leaf shape part. So we're just going to come down here. And again, it's sort of like that Y shape. This might come a little bit higher, I think. And then you're just going to draw your heart. So you probably want to have the heart come somewhere. So we're not seeing the tip of the heart really. I kind of did that here, but however you draw your hearts, I think I'm going to see anything with symmetry is just not my thing. So maybe a little bit curved like that. So that is Pokeheart. So I'm going to grab my, this is my 0.5. So we were starting with this bottom shape like this. And then these were the petals. Like that. And then you're just drawing your heart. If you have your heart come down a little bit further, you can do that as well. You can add, for example, the back of the leaf if you'd like, and then maybe just ink that in. And then you can embellish as you'd like. So maybe I'm just going to add that there. And here what I did is I put some striping on the leaves. I added that circle and just went around. Here I try to add shattuck. I did a little bit of spirals. I added just some little lines for shading. So you can go ahead and do that as well if you like. I don't know, this is kind of a simple one. Maybe we can add another one. So maybe I could make this, let's see, be the start of another bottom of the leaf, and maybe bring that in like this. And then maybe I can put, again, another heart here. That. And so you can keep building on that if you wanted to. And then maybe we can add a little bit of shading here. I don't use on the tiles any graphite or anything like that, but just the ink. And just grab the eraser and erase the pencil lines. Okay, and so that's Pokeheart. And I'm going to go ahead and draw it now with the Micron Red PN pen. I think I am going to go back to the pencil. So it's just it's like a bottom shape of the heart. And then maybe I can put a larger heart here. Like that. I'll put that little bit of color back there. And maybe just a little bit more color in here. Okay, now what I'm going to do here on the compilation page is I'm going to just also take up a little bit of space. I'm going to add it with this variation. So let me just pick a spot. Okay, I decided I'm going to put it in here. And I think what I'm going to do, because I think I'm going to use this perhaps as a starting point, because it will have that shape. So I'm going to give the antenna of this bee fly an aura. So I'm just going to come here and also give that an aura. And let's see how this will work. It might be too narrow. So let me think about this a little bit more. Okay, I think I'm going to start with pencil first. I'm going to bring the camera just up a little bit. All right, and I think I'm going to have that base come down here like this and then come up. So I'm going to have this here be the initial petals for the Pokeheart. And now I'm just going to add my heart. I want to try to make it just a little bit bigger because I do want to fill in some space, because besides this one, we only have 2 more Zentangles to go. So I'm going to see about using filling up this area here with those two. So I do want to fill this spot up. So I think I'm going to make a larger heart like that. Okay, and then let me go ahead and start inking this in because I think the others will be fine. And this is just tucking behind. And in this area, I might ink it in. I might add some orbs, might do some shattuck. We'll see. Okay, so now the next thing I want to do is I'm going to add this variation. So let's see, maybe I want to come over here. So I'm going to add like these little stems. And I think, yeah, this is the 0.5. I think this will be fine. Just a little bit like that. And then I'm giving it like a little upside down frown. Connecting that and inking it in. And now I'm just going to draw a heart. So these don't need to be perfect hearts. They don't necessarily have to connect here. Maybe they come a little bit further down. This comes on back and maybe connects there. So I'm not adding in any more of these leaves. I'm just going to draw these hearts. And so perhaps there's one that is coming off this lobe. Maybe that's a little bit larger. Like that. And again, if you want to continue with this, you most certainly can, or you can just leave it at that. But I just want to do this. So perhaps there's one coming off this way. And one over here. It's almost like they're balloon hearts. And I think because I think I want to save this space for the other two Zentangles. So maybe I'll fill in this spot here. So maybe there's one nice large one that is over here somewhere. And we don't see the poke root area or the poked area. And then I can fill that in with orbs or something else. So now as far as for maybe embellishing it, we can go ahead and do that. So perhaps here I will put that circle because where is it? I know I did one of them with that. Where did I do that one? Oh, it was here. Sort of like this, these swirls. So I'm going to see if I can come down here like that. And perhaps this one here. I'm going to see if I can have it connect there. And then maybe just a third one coming along and connecting there. And then we can connect or continue with those swirls. You can add that little hook or that little foot like we did here in Festoon. But I think this is how I'm going to embellish this particular heart. So just giving it that aura. They aren't necessarily all the same size. So you can take your hearts, and if you want to embellish them, you can use quite a few of the different Zentangles that we learned, like Shattuck, I think would be a nice one. Mirth. Maybe you want to add some of the letterish in there. So here, maybe I just might want to add some spirals. So, and I think I'm going to take my smaller, my 0.3. Let's see what it looks like. So maybe I can add a spiral in here. And maybe an offshoot of a spiral here. So just play around with them. Okay, and then maybe I will draw Shattuck in one of these. So let's just go ahead and put maybe one wavy line going this way, one coming this way, one that way, and actually have that turned out nicely with a little separate heart there. And I'm going to do the curvy Shattuck like that, and then here I'm going to go the opposite way. You can try the straight line Shattuck. And then here, maybe we will go, let's see, let's do it this way. And then maybe this way. And I think I'm going to leave that heart just the way it is, like that. And maybe these here, I'll give it just a little bit of shading, or not shading, but of maybe little lines coming this way. And maybe on this one, I could put little dots, maybe little dots and dashes. So however you want to embellish, you go ahead and you do that. So now I'm going to grab my graphite, and let's see. So with this one here, I might have a little bit of shading here, or adding graphite here in these areas, as well as here where it's tucked down. This one I'm going to add some graphite here. And this is where it's tucked behind seeds. This one is on top of that one, so we'll go ahead and do that. And I might give this an aura around the entire entire Zentangle. So this comes here. This way, if I want to darken in that spot, I can. Okay. I could also give this inside area an aura. This way, I think I can ink that in, and I think that's going to look nice. It gives it a little bit more definition. Okay, and then here I might add, or actually this is part of a heart. I did not realize that, so let's go ahead and give this one an aura. And let's give this an aura here just to show that that's a heart there too. So I'm just trying to think of maybe some other design that we can put in there. Let's go ahead and add some additional spirals. Actually, let's go ahead and how about we then put in here some of that, those flux shapes like we had done. Which Zentangle was that? Inktober. So let's do that so we see that there. Okay, then I'm just gonna, and we also had the little orb as part of Inktober. I think that'll be fun. All right, let me grab my tortillon and start hitting that in. So let me know in the comment section if you're going to give this a try, if you're going to give it a try as the variation, or, I mean, definitely give it a try as the actual Zentangle, but let me know which one you prefer. Okay, there we go. Let me show you that a little bit close up. So thanks so much for watching, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.